Hi, everybody. Welcome to the first episode of Doses of Darling. My name is Darling Membreño. I am a licensed professional counselor associate, and I am over the moon about being able to finally record this first episode, but even start this project of this podcast because it's been a long time coming. I have been thinking about starting a podcast and planning it and discussing it and manifesting it for the last 3 or 4 years already. And I either didn't feel ready or I was waiting on a friend that was supposed to do it with me and that didn't pan out. I let imposter syndrome creep in and second guessed my own ability and my own wisdom, and even got to the point of asking myself, who the hell do you think you are that anybody would listen to what you have to say, or that you have any information that isn't already readily available and accessible for people online and on Instagram and on TikTok. And I let all of those things get in the way of me starting this podcast. But I'm ready now, and I felt compelled to start it today because even though I haven't really figured out the kinks of how I'm going to be recording this, I wanted this to be a bilingual podcast in both English and Spanish at the same time. I'm trying to figure out whether to record a version in Spanish and then re-record a version in English or vice versa. I'm going to ask y'all to be patient with me as I figure that out. Just like us human beings being imperfect, I think this project is going to be a living, breathing thing that's going to be ever changing, and we'll watch it blossom into whatever it needs to blossom into. And so I am so grateful that I get this opportunity to share my voice because my perspective is unique. And so even if I don't have all of the wisdom in the world, I know that I can reach out to colleagues to talk about certain things and discuss certain things and bring them on as guests, and we'll have as many answers as necessary. So this is a mental health podcast, and we will be broaching topics such as obviously healing. We will be broaching topics such as different theories that have worked for different people in different ways. We will be broaching psychedelics and mental health. We'll be broaching healing in the Latino community, healing as a Latina woman, generational traumas, so many different topics that we're going to be able to discuss here. And you'll get little doses of my story and my healing journey as it pertains to each of the topics of my episodes. And so I am looking forward to share whatever it is that God wants me to share with the community. I will be sharing whatever topics come to mind and to my heart that I think are important, and I will just let the Holy Spirit speak through me, so that even if I only reach one person, I know that I'll be doing the Lord's work. And so today's episode is going to be about the healing journey. And I know that's a really broad topic. I don't know how long I'm going to go talking about this, but I thought it was very apropos because of certain situations that are going on in my life and certain growths that I have gone through since November of 2022. I said that I started my healing journey a while back, but I feel like since November I have grown into a completely different person that I'm really proud of. And thanks to the help of certain individuals, I have gotten to a point of certain confidence for me to be able to do things like this. And so I want to go back to the healing journey and talk about how messy it can be, that a lot of us have a misconception that we are going to start on this path to healing, and we're going to heal our traumas, every single one of them, and it's going to be linear, and we're going to achieve the goals that we want, and none of our traumas are going to be triggered ever again, and no matter what challenges come our way, I'm just going to step out of it like nothing. And boy, is it going to burst your bubble when I tell you it is nothing like that. I know that almost everyone is aware of the fact that the healing journey is not linear like that. It is very much so like a roller coaster that goes all over the place, up and down and around and upside down and backwards and in dark tunnels for several minutes where you have no idea whether you're going to turn or whether you're going to drop or whether you're going to shoot upwards. That's what healing is like. You get re-traumatized, you get re-triggered, and it is okay. It's okay. And some people are very hard on themselves when they do become triggered after working for so many years on even one specific trauma, just one trauma, and then you find yourself back in the same place, acting the same way you did when you started this healing journey. And I just want to say that it's fine. It's fine because we're all human beings. We are all imperfect. And there's no need to beat ourselves up about being these imperfect people. And so I want to share a little bit about my healing journey. I started it because of this second master's degree in clinical mental health counseling that I embarked on in 2019. And the program essentially broke me down and then started building me back up piece by piece so that then I could start being able to help clients in my office. I started doing healing work around trauma that was put on me by my mom. And I was so proud of having healed that because that specific trauma was the reason why I had been in dysfunctional relationships for a long time and wasn't able to extract myself from toxic situations sometimes. And I thought that upon healing that specific trauma with my mother and discussing it with her and crying about it with her, I thought I was not ever going to attract any people that hurt me the way that she hurt me with her mixed messaging growing up of I love you, but then rejecting me in certain ways. And so, not to go into too much detail yet because it is episode 1, but that was the trauma that I picked up from my mom along the way, along with other traumas, but that was one of the main ones that I had been struggling with. And I was able to let go of a toxic relationship maybe a year or so after having healed that, having had that heart to heart with my mother. And so I thought, okay, I let this relationship go. Now I'm not going to attract men that send me the same mixed messaging. But I was wrong. I recently was triggered in that same way and found a similar type of dynamic. But it was a little bit more, it was different. It was a little more positive in the end somehow, even though it's not something that's working out. And I'm very heartbroken about it. I am angry about it. I am feeling rejected by it. And even as a mental health counselor who has the tools, who's gone through these growth processes to be able to pick myself up and move on, I'm struggling with all of these emotions, and it's okay. It is okay because, as I said, healing is messy. And so the only reason I share this little dose of what's going on in my life right now is because there are many people out there currently who feel lost, who feel angry about situations, or sad about situations, or frustrated with certain situations that we get ourselves in, or that we are put in, or we allow ourselves to be put in, because we've done so much work already. So I'm going to repeat it again. Healing is messy. And even though we're equipped with the tools, we are allowed to trip and fall and to stay down for as long as we need to. Even if we've already gone through this healing journey, it does become a little bit easier, however, once we've started the healing journey and we're in the process and we're surrounded by loved ones. Because that is another important thing of our healing journey, is some people can do it by themselves, and I commend those people. It's very rare, though, that somebody can go through a healing journey without a supportive tribe around. And that's another portion of my healing journey, is that I recently discovered I had to let go of some people in my life, and I'm keeping the real supportive group around me. And so I encourage those of you who are on your healing journey to look around and see if you have the support, and if you don't, find it. For those of you thinking of embarking on your healing journey, find that support group. You do not have to do this by yourself. The healing journey, as I mentioned earlier, can be so discouraging. It can bring us to our knees, because we have to break ourselves down if we want to become that ideal self. If we want to build back up, to become the best versions of us that this universe, or that God wants us to be, so that we can fulfill our purpose in this life. Healing is worth it. There may be times where you feel like you're crawling up the side of a mountain that has a mudslide coming down it, and you keep sliding back down, and you keep climbing back up and sliding back down. But the main point is not giving up. When you're on that roller coaster and you're in that dark tunnel and you don't know what is coming around the corner, don't give up. Keep that faith in yourself. Keep loving yourself, because it is so important, even when you feel, especially when you feel the most broken, the way that I do in this moment, that I feel the most rejected. If I had met this person that I'm feeling heartbroken about, 3 years ago, let's say, the way that I would have been going about this situation would have been so much more self-destructive, so much more recklessly, and dare I say, even toxic. I have done some things currently that I'm not proud of. in order to, I mean, I don't even know, but to not end up at this heartbroken place, but they haven't worked. However, if I think about the version of me from 3 years ago and how I would have handled that situation, even though I've done some, just maybe like three or four dumb things, I would have done like 20 dumb things if it had been the version of me from 3 years ago. So healing works. Healing your traumas works. You become more cognizant of your actions and the patterns that you're repeating. And you can take a pause and realize, hold on, this seems familiar. And you can do a 180. And I think the most important part about healing is giving yourself grace and being patient with yourself, because you're going to feel emotions that you don't want to feel. You're going to have to rehash stories that you have not wanted to retell because they're so painful. You're going to have to open up old wounds that you do not want to open up. But we want to scar those wounds so that we can be stronger for whatever other challenges present themselves. Healing does not mean that we're going to be perfectly without problems now, because that's not how life works, right? Healing means you're just going to be better equipped for whatever other battles or challenges come your way in life. But the longer you wait to start your healing journey, the more easily we get ourselves into dysfunctional situations. The more easily we find ourselves in deep shit. And then we don't know what to do because we're acting on impulse instead of from our core self that's grounded and that can see things from a more healed perspective. Healing is just one of my favorite psychologists, Gabor Mate. I don't even know if that's how you say his name. He's from Canada. I think he's like French, Canadian, Jewish. He said the capacity for healing is simply in our nature as organisms. So we yearn for healing. Our bodies tell us when it's time to heal and when we're in shitty situations. They tell us when we need to get out of things that we shouldn't be involved in. But without healing, it's difficult to feel that intuition and even notice it. We don't listen. And so we go with our egos and think that we have things under control when that's nowhere near the reality. So healing provides all of that clarity that we're missing when we haven't started healing our traumas. Healing provides patience. Healing provides self-awareness to the point of acting instead of just noticing. It's great if people are aware, but also what comes next to get myself out of these situations, to not go into those situations and to see them before they happen and stop them before they happen. I believe that once we start the healing process and we build up our stamina and our resilience, and we start compiling all of these different tools that we need for different situations, I truly believe that then things start unfolding in our best interest. But only if and when we start this healing journey. I hope to be able to reach as many people as necessary with this message of how imperative it is for us to start healing our traumas. This trauma is not what happened to us, according to, again, Mr. Gabor Mate. Trauma is not what happened to us. Trauma is what happened inside of us as a result of the relationship that fucked us over, or the parent who beat us as a child, or the friend who betrayed us that we won't forgive. Healing is for us. Healing is for us to heal those things inside of us so that we can get back to our own intuition, so that we can be in our core selves and then finally live life with intention, so that we can make decisions from a grounded point instead of an impulsive, emotional place. And then we don't get ourselves in situations that we can't get out of. Yes, it does also mean that we need to guard ourselves a little bit more. But again, that goes back to our patience, and that goes back to having grace for ourselves and for forgiving ourselves if we do end up getting ourselves in some sticky situations, because we will backslide. That's just how life is. It's okay. It's okay to backslide, and it's also okay to feel all of the feelings that come with backsliding: shame, fear, anger, whatever else is happening. Have grace for yourself. And if somebody else is involved in your pain and suffering, give them grace as well, because they may be dealing with their own traumas that they haven't healed, or they're backsliding from their healing journey as well. Offer them the same patience and grace and love that you would offer yourself, and that you would offer a dear friend or a beloved family member. Because we all deserve it. We are all imperfect humans. We're all messes, but we're all beautiful messes. And I am grateful that even as heartbroken as I feel right now, that I felt called to record this podcast with this message, because I hope to reach somebody at any stage of their healing journey, whether you're in the middle of it, because we're always healing, right? In the middle of that journey, whether you're considering starting your healing journey, heck, even if you're resisting your healing journey. If you get to hear this message and I get to inspire in any way, I've done my job. I've done my job through my heartbreak, through whatever it is that is going on in my life. I want to be able to help people. And so I think this is a good place to wrap up and summarize that healing is a messy process. Healing is not linear, and it does not mean that you're never going to have problems in life, or that you're never going to struggle, and that you're never going to be re-traumatized, that you're never going to be triggered to be reminded of the ex that fucked you over, or you're never going to be triggered to remember the parent that abandoned you, or triggered to remember any betrayal that you've endured in your life. Just it doesn't mean any of that. It means you're becoming a stronger version of you, that you are becoming a better version of you, and that all that matters is that you continue on that healing journey and pick yourself up with the support of loved ones around you, and continue on working to heal the old traumas and the new traumas, and then things just unravel and unfold to work for our higher good, for the good of all and the harm of none, typically, when you stay in this energy of gratitude and of healing. I hope that I said everything that I needed to say. This is like the 10th time that I record this episode, and I was so set on it being the one that I recorded this morning because it was so much more sentimental. It was quieter, but I was feeling my feelings a little bit more strongly. But I think this is good. I think I got all of the information across, and once again, I'm over the moon. I'm beyond excited that I finally get to start this project, and I'm so looking forward to so many of the different topics that I'm going to be discussing here, and giving y'all little doses of me along the way so that you can get to know me and I don't know, can relate to me in a certain way at some point during these episodes. So I'm grateful to God that I can do this, and I look forward to the second episode, and we'll see what it is that episode is going to be. I'm pretty sure we're going to talk about attachment styles, and if it's not attachment styles, it'll be psychedelics, but I'll give you some tiny doses of darling in those as well. And so just thanks for joining me today, and I hope that I reached at least one person out there with this message. Don't give up. Give yourself some grace. Be patient with yourself, but overall, love yourself. Love yourself through pain, through heartbreak, because ultimately the healing is for you, not for the people around you. And if it benefits people around you, then so be it, right? That's the best part of healing, when you can share it with those around you that you care about. Awesome. Well, I'm signing off. Thanks again for joining me on Doses of Darling, and I'm looking forward to episode 2.